For sure, Shopify has really been investing significantly in AI. Tobias Lutke, very much a developer first, the CEO of Shopify. I think we are very much just at the beginning of seeing an explosion of these AI tools for Shopify that are about to pop up.
Welcome to the My Wife Quit Her Job podcast. Today, I'm excited to have Kurt Elster on the show. I've known Kurt for over a decade now. He is the founder of EtherCycle, where he helps Shopify owners grow their businesses. And he is also the host of the Unofficial Shopify Podcast, one of the best and longest running e-commerce podcasts out there. Now, it's been a while since I've had Kurt on, and with AI shaking up e-commerce so quickly, I wanted to bring him back on today to talk about the strategies some of the biggest brands and his clients are using right now to increase average order value, boost conversions, and grow revenue. And with that, Kurt, how you doing?
Good. I'm happy to be here. First interview of the day.
I think I have known you for over a decade, right?
Yeah.
2014, I want to say, is when.
Yeah, I know. We were at like a pre-pandemic. I know the first time I met you in person, pre-pandemic, it was Clavio, Boston.
Yeah. Was that 2016 or something like that? I don't even remember.
I don't
It's a long
know.
time ago.
But yeah, it's been a while.
But it's great to have you. In all of my years running my e-commerce store, this is my 18th year. I would
Congrats.
say outside of COVID, this year has easily been the most tumultuous with crazy changes across the board with AI and tariffs. So my first question for you, since you have a lot of clients, what are your clients doing about tariffs right now, just through the grapevine?
This is what's crazy is the tariffs really, a lot of it is just about communicating it. And so the practical change I've seen is if you're on Shopify Plus, adding checkout messaging, where it's like, that based on address or the product that this order will incur some kind of, tariff, duty, or tax potentially, and just surfacing that up front. It's like, hey, this isn't us, but this is what you're going to be looking at. Or helping people
Interesting.
try and get like delivery duty paid set up, DDP, with
Okay.
international shipping
Yeah.
set up, or even just getting HS codes, harmonized system, which is what like tariffs use to identify what kind of product they're looking at. Just getting those set up so that people could pay the appropriate taxes. Like just being prepared for it is tough. The really tough part is like day to day, even like between now and this recording and when it airs, it's chaotic. We don't know. At no point have I been able to tell you what tariff you may or may not pay on what order when. Like, and that's what's so confusing and concerning about it.
I'm pretty shocked. So you're saying some of your clients are in the checkout letting people know that the prices, instead of just increasing prices across the board, you are indicating like a tariff fee?
Yes, some have done it that way where they
Okay.
know that like, all right, we're not covering it, but the country we're sending it to, like especially international orders,
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, you're going to end up paying, very likely you may end up paying this. And so like in general, people are going to be upset about unexpected surprises.
Yeah.
And so informing them up front, like, hey, this is what you should expect, but that's the problem is like, you may or may not have to pay this.
Huh.
Who knows?
I've just been silently increasing prices across the board, just a little bit here, a little bit there, and just kind of gradually doing it. And I mean, so far so good. I don't think anyone's like outright complained about the prices yet.
you know, we've seen that too. And that's probably like the easiest way to do it, right? Is absorb the cost and then up average order value
Yeah.
generally through, increasing prices across the board. And it depends, what you're selling, what the inputs are.
Yeah.
It's difficult. If you're like selling knives and your input is steel, you would be very familiar with what tariffs on steel are right now.
Exactly. It's nuts. So Kurt, so much has changed in Shopify land. Actually, they just made an announcement 5 days ago, I want to say, about their new agentic flows and whatnot. So what I want to ask is, what are some really cool features that your clients are using right now to increase sales?
Okay. So for sure, Shopify has really been investing significantly in AI, but
Yeah.
being, Tobias Lutke, very much a developer first, the CEO of Shopify. And the initial things they did are really all about framework and tooling for other developers. And so I think we are very much just at the beginning of seeing an explosion of these AI tools for Shopify are about to pop up.
Hmm.
But with and the very first AI tool we saw in Shopify was Shopify Sidekick, which it just answers
Yes.
questions inside the
Yeah.
admin. And I gave last year when it came out, I played with it, and I gave it a hard time because it I would ask it questions that I thought should be simple and mess it up. But then recently, it's getting significantly better. I gave it a question. I'm like, there's no way it's going to get this right, but it did. I said, hey, go in an apparel store that had hundreds of listings. I'm like, we just need a breakdown of what sizes sell. What are our colors that sell? What are our sizes that sell for inventory forecasting? And it did the analysis and it nailed it. And of course, I didn't trust it. So when I did it myself, it had gotten it right. I couldn't believe it. So it's like that as far as, Shopify's own AI tooling, number one is just being able to immediately answer your questions, especially around analytics, right in the admin. That
Yeah.
part's really cool.
That is really cool. I actually recently started playing around with the website design. How do you feel about like the AI site design
Well, there's two
features?
parts to it. There's like there's one where in the theme view where it shows you like here's the themes that you have, published and unpublished. There's an option where it'll be like, "Oh, we'll generate a theme for you. You just give us a description." That I thought I've tried it several times, and as far as I can tell, it's like you just pick something at random. It really
Right.
that
Yeah.
doesn't make much sense to me. But as a starting point for someone who's never used it before, maybe it's helpful. The one that's insanely cool is in the theme editor. So like your visual editor where you're not doing code, you can add a section to a theme. Let's say, and that section could be like the product form or on the product page. You could then add blocks in there. And the blocks would be like title, price, our buttons. But the wild thing Shopify could do now, right in there, no extra fee that's built in your plan. You can you could generate the additional blocks for a section by just giving it a prompt, and it does it. I'm sure this is what you tried,
Yeah.
and it like it's the same AI coding tools we all use, but with that complete integration in the theme editor, you could just be like, "Hey, I need, this kind of slideshow. Hey, I need, this item's on sale and I want to present it in this way." And it'll just generate it. And then it'll ask you if it got it right and you can give it revisions. It's really cool. If you're not a developer, or even if you are a developer and you're like, it's something simple, you're like, I just want to see this. Like let's just show them this idea. You know, type one sentence, wait a minute, it pops back, and it works. It's really cool.
Yeah, I had the same experience with you. Like when I did the whole website design, it's like, okay, you gave me something and how do I change it? And then you basically have to regenerate. But the block level, you're right. If you plop down blocks and have AI generate each block to your liking, yeah, that works pretty darn well. And it's very nicely integrated.
Yeah, it's cool. And just like a person writing code or, using one of these tools directly, like in ChatGPT or Claude
Yeah.
or whatever, it it's gonna make mistakes. And if the more complicated it gets, it becomes more likely. But like a simple widget in a theme, there it's not terribly complicated code. Shopify's code is well documented. Shopify's code is made available in a specific way for AIs to understand it. And so it does a pretty remarkable job.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure, over time you can get yourself into trouble with it, right? Where it's like it's going to generate bigger code than a person might, or it might have bugs that you don't necessarily realize until later, or things where it's like, well, I added, three items and now they kind of interfere with each other.
Right.
I'm just giving examples. I've not actually seen that, and for the most part, it has worked just fine.
I think most people focus on the aesthetics, not
Yeah.
necessarily like functionality, right? So that's probably why it's a little less prevalent. But yeah, I agree. Maintenance is always the problem, I think, when it comes to AI generated code.
Yeah, it's like, "Oh, go back and update this." Like, sometimes it's easier just to go, "You know what? We're gonna start over." I like Claude a lot, and so I'll give it
Yeah.
a script I wrote, and I'll say it's easier than having it revise it sometimes. It's just you give it the code and go, "Hey, analyze this, tell me what it does." And then when it understands it, you go, "Okay, well, let's write our own version of that, and this is what we're gonna change," and have it start over.
So outside of the design features, though, what are some things that you've seen with your clients that have moved the needle in terms of sales?
The Okay, the thing they want us to be using is, live chat sales agents.
Mm,
And some of them are proactive, where it'll pop up on the store. Like, um, it'll pop up and be like, "Hey, we saw you're looking at, this particular product. Did other customers had this question, or other customers, also looked at this." Where it's gonna preemptively try and engage with them and try and get them to ask a question about it. Really operate in the way if I walked into a retail store, a
right.
person might come up to me. And I think, like, that style of live chat, that's the thing that Shopify provided us the tooling for. We're gonna see a ton of those. And we have that, like, a particular one of those running in one store where it does its own conversion tracking, and according to the app that we're paying for, it has, remarkably boosted sales, and the people who interact with it have a higher AOV, which that I believe.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I've been working on that for my store. I haven't put it live yet because I'm a little fearful of it, right?
you gotta stay
Um,
on top of it.
because so can you walk me through the one that has boosted AOV? Like, does it just say up front, I'm a bot and I'm just here to answer your product recommendation questions? Or is it proactive? Like, I notice you're looking at this product. Might I suggest this?
It'll be well, alright, so I loaded it up.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be like, "Hey, this product title is a perfect treat," and it, like, kinda parrots the description back to you. And then it asks, I think what's clever about it is it asks you a question that it thinks it has the answer for. Would you like to know more about the ingredients? Because, like, ingredients is there's
Mm,
probably a meta field where ingredients is set,
right.
so it knows, and it's just like, hey, did you want to know that? And so it's just kind of like trying to prompt them into a conversation. And I'm on this site all the time, and so I like just looking through this
Yeah.
thing, and I'm looking at one product, and it's like, well, this is our most popular flavor. And it's got no added sugar. Would you like suggestions on other packaging options or pairing ideas? And it's the packaging of it's because it just comes in different packages.
Right, 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 right.
But it's like
Interesting.
it's calling out the things it knows. And I use AI enough where I, like, try to think through what the prompt is. So it's like, okay, this is probably like, here's all the details of this product. A person is looking at the product, try and engage them in a conversation, only using what you know about the product. And then it comes up with this, like, oh, you want to know about packaging options? Because it just read the variants. But I think, it's very human like, and it does not identify itself as AI up front.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
it
Okay.
does. So what we the title we gave it is virtual sales consultant.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
But I think out of the box it doesn't. You know what? I'll just ask it, "Are you AI?" See what it says. "Hey,
What
buddy."
what is
No,
considered
it doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't say that?
I said, "Are you AI?" And it says, "I'm here to help with any questions." Ooh,
Interesting.
naughty boy.
Hey, just a quick heads up. Tickets for my annual e-commerce conference, the Seller Summit, are now on sale over at sellersummit.com. If you run an e-commerce business selling physical products, this event was built for you. Unlike typical events filled with broad advice and feel-good stories, the Seller Summit is all about real strategies you can actually use. Every speaker I invite is deep in the trenches, running their own store and dealing with the same challenges you face every single day. Now, we keep the event intentionally small, just 200 people, so it stays intimate, and you actually get time to connect, ask questions, and have meaningful conversations. I've sold out every single year for the past 9 years. And if your store is already doing over $250K or $1 million in revenue, we also run a private mastermind with other top sellers in the space. You can learn more and grab your ticket over at sellersummit.com. Now back to the show.
Well, so how does it, calculate a conversion? Is it any interaction with the bot that leads to a sale? Is that considered a conversion?
That would be my guess, is like, did they click on this at all and then bought? Take credit.
Okay. Yeah. See, I don't know about taking credit for that. I will tell you one thing that I've done with my shop recently that really moved the needle was, you know how mostly there's frequently bought, most Shopify stores have that or Amazon has that. The problem is that 20% of my products yield 80% of the sales. So a lot of products don't have well populated recommended fields. So
Mm.
what I did is I scanned in all of my images and created this database of related images from AI. And so now every product has a recommendation now that looks aesthetically similar to what they're looking at. And then now every time, recommended products is populated, and that has boosted my AOV, I think by 17%.
Oh, I'm interviewing you now. How many products in your store?
We have almost 1,000 products.
Okay.
So
So
that's
you'd
the
have had
problem.
to like
Yeah.
batch this in some way.
Oh, well, it's all AI. It's all scripted, right?
How do
Yeah.
you do it? Right? Like, what are we using for? All right. So in a typical Shopify store, I have there'll be a meta field that's like related products.
Yeah.
And I could surface that in search and discovery, or it might be pinned on the page. So I have to populate that some way.
Right.
How you
So
get
I'm
the
not on
data in?
Shopify.
Oh, darn.
I have my own site. I have my own database. So what I do is I run it through this OpenAI embeddings. It's called Clip, I think, and it turns all the images into a vector format. And so now for each, and then I pre-do this ahead of time. You have to populate this ahead of time. I store it in a database so that when they're looking at that product, it looks up in my database all the similar products and then populates them under recommended.
That's wild.
Yeah.
All right.
So I
You've
do the frequently bought first. It's a hierarchy. So if because the frequently bought is a better measure. I'm using FP growth for that. That's an algorithm. And then if there's not enough products there, then I do the similarity search for my other database.
I'm just writing down keywords because I bet I could figure this out, how to do
Yeah, you
something
can. You
similar.
can. You can totally do it. You can
This is
totally do
great.
it. Yeah. Um, okay. So sorry, the bot. So okay. So the reason why I'm apprehensive about the bot is because I don't know what it's going to say sometimes, right? So it sounds like the one that you described is kind of canned in a way, right? It's not going to screw up, so to speak.
No, I think this one's it's just throwing out ideas. I
Okay.
do. And
Okay.
because um we've also seen them where they'll charge you by like problem solved. It'll be like, oh well, this could like we don't charge you a monthly fee. Just a customer had a question and we resolved it correctly. We charge you $1. And you could see the conversations. And so on that particular scenario, we're looking through the ones where it's like, didn't solve it. It's like people asking really esoteric questions where it's like, okay, a person would know that. And then the ones it solved, half the time it was like, one was like, the person was like, well, can I bought this jar. I want to return just the lid. Can I do that? And the AI was like, sure, I bet you could return just the lid. Just reach
Oh,
out to a
okay.
sales consultant.
Okay.
And then it was like, it considered that resolved and you could charge $1 for it. Or like
Okay.
telling it to go talk to a person, does that really count as resolved? Also, no, they're not going to take back just the lid from a jar.
Right. Exactly. Okay. All
But
right. All
they
right.
let the AI decide if it resolved it or not.
Okay. That's nuts. See, this is the exact reason why I'm scared to release mine. Mine is just meant to be a product recommendations and a product lookup. Like if they want to check on their status of the order or if they want recommendations on what to buy.
Or
That's
well,
easy
it
stuff.
sounds like that
Yeah.
you could do. Like
Yeah.
you've got that figured out.
Yeah.
And order status for sure. That like, the ones that are limited to just order status are pretty easy because
Yeah.
they just open with like, hey, you know, did you need help with your order? Like it can see if the person's logged in. It knows
Yeah.
who they are.
Yeah.
Those I think have been pretty safe. Where it gets weird is when it's like open ended. It's just like, they could just ask
Yes.
questions.
Yeah. And so you got to make sure it doesn't respond like you can return the lid without the jar type of thing, right?
Yeah. Now
So,
what
okay.
Shopify's done is kind of clever. They have anyone can install an app. It's called Shopify Knowledge Base, and it will show you uh, it, how many times your products on Shopify got recommended by AI. Because like Perplexity, ChatGPT are integrated into Shopify's catalog now. They have access to it, and
Mm,
I believe everybody by default has their products in this. And so it's kind of neat to see that. But
mhm.
then it also has what's called an MCP, Model Context Protocol. And if you're
Yep.
into AI, you start to see these pop up where essentially it's just like a structured way for the AI to ask a question and give an answer of another database or AI. And Shopify now has that built into your store. And in this free knowledge base app, you can set up FAQs where it will show you like, here's all the questions an AI asked the store. And so if I've yet to see one, but this thing just rolled out, and then you can also set up your questions and answers in there. And then it has like pre-populated because it knows what your store's policies are. It grabs those and like tries to use that to answer questions out of the box. And so I think that'll be in there. It'll be interesting. This is all, on the premise that browser usage starts to go down and maybe app
Mm,
usage starts to go down. But the thing that goes up is just asking AI questions,
right.
whatever format that takes. Like I use Perplexity often, that has replaced Google search for me. And so Perplexity could be like, I have a question and about a product. It finds the product on a Shopify store somewhere, ask the question to the store, the store returns the response, and then Perplexity tells me the answer. And so all I had to do was ask the one question, and then the agent, the fact that this thing is doing like some kind of activity out on the internet for me, tries to come up with the answer and brings it back to me.
Is that live yet? The ChatGPT native Shopify integration with
It,
MCP? Yeah.
it would have to be, because in this knowledge base app, you could see it's like, any store I load up, it'll be like, your product appeared in AI searches X many times.
But
And
can you
like I've
check
seen
out?
it in Perplexity too, where it's
But
like you
does
ask
checkout
and
occur on the chat interface, or does it occur still on the website?
I believe it still occurs on the website. In
Okay.
the interface is coming. That was announced and in June at their developer conference.
Yeah.
This like big unified experience. And then I just saw last week an announcement about it where it's like, okay, I think we know what this looks like. I'm gonna guess this is in early developer preview. Like this stuff
Right.
is early, but moving fast.
I think it'll really be a game changer if you can just hit a button and instantly checks out within ChatGPT, assuming they have your payment information, which I think they already do. So yeah,
Or if it like with Shop Pay, a lot of people, if you've bought on
sure.
Shopify once, it's like already stored, so it'll just work.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're going for. And of course for them, it works out very nicely. You get a percentage of transaction, but
Yep.
everybody's life gets made easier. The convenience is what we're after here.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it. I will, if I'm playing devil's advocate, the case against is we had a similar conversation years ago, the royal we, in that we thought apps were going to add their own checkouts. And so it's like you saw an ad on Instagram, and then instead of going to the store on the click through, you make the purchase through Meta.
Yeah.
Meta shut it down. It's gone. And TikTok was going to do the same thing. Where's that
Yeah.
now? Right? And so some of those native checkouts like didn't quite work out, but at the same time, Shop Pay, like there's more ubiquity to it than Meta Pay.
Sure. Yeah, I guess the disadvantage is all your other flows and tracking everything wouldn't be there anymore, right? Because it's like TikTok Shop, right? It
Yeah.
kind of just shows up. Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I want all those flows and tracking for my online store because I
Yeah.
almost certainly had to pay to get the person there or put in like some great level, some extraordinary level of effort digital marketing wise
Yeah.
versus, I think the idea is I do SEO and the AI recommends me because of those SEO efforts, and then I get the purchase. All right, well, like, for sure the AIs, they got to monetize these things. I think ads and promoted
Yeah.
products are going to start appearing in those feeds at some point, right? But until then, well, we've got like a much more organic approach to these things.
Before we started recording, you mentioned that a lot of your clients are focusing on SEO again, like it's a hot topic. Can you
Yeah,
talk about that a little bit?
I SEO renaissance this year. I think where you see that AI future coming, how do you optimize for it? And I think the answer is traditional SEO. Number one, when these AI, you ask an AI a question, often it just goes searches the web to get the answer. And I like that. I'd rather it go search the web than just trying to like hallucinate the answer. And so, but it's not going to go deep in those search results. Just like a person, it's going to look at what's in the top 5, top 10, who knows. And so regular SEO will benefit those AI answers. Okay. And then on top of it, technical SEO, where I'm sure your site, you have like rich snippet data
Of
where,
course. Yeah.
yeah, you've got,
Yeah.
it's just a way in the code to kind of describe what the product page is to Google search. Well, it turns out that structured data is really good for AI. And so if you've got that structured data, well, number one, you make sure you have that structured data for the benefit of AI. And then number two, if you're really good at it, maybe expand it, right? There's all kinds of schema you can add into it. But then the SEO, like just regular traditional SEO, okay, that gets us to appear in more AI search queries and more organic search. I love it. But also, you feed the beast with AI. AI has made a lot of SEO efforts quite a bit easier, right? I have Python scripts that AI wrote for me that connect to a Shopify store via the API, and then do a lot of the heavy SEO lifting. Find where someone forgot to add SEO title and description, then write it. and here's the best practices from Google Shopping for those titles.
Right.
And then, oh man, for accessibility and SEO, we really want alt text on all of our photos. Well, turns out you can get ChatGPT to do that. It's really good at it, right? Where you, hey, find all the files that are related to a product, then send the product description and the photo and a prompt on how to write great alt text to ChatGPT. ChatGPT returns it to me. We upload it to the Shopify store. And then, all right, a human needs to check all these things. Give me a spreadsheet at the end to scroll through. And so it's like this work that people would just skip because it was, hours
Tedious.
of data entry.
Yep.
Now, the whole thing, including like running it, babysitting it, then reviewing it, it's like an hour at most. That's incredible. And so I just do that on every store I ever touch.
Totally. I actually did that recently because we have almost 1,000 products.
Right.
And
And not
for the
realistic.
longest time, it was a pain. So our product descriptions were horrible for a long time. So you're right. Yeah, you just write a little script and it populates all of the descriptions, meta tags, everything. And then I still hand looked at each one
Right.
before I made them live. But actually, our SEO traffic is up at all-time highs in the 18 years that I've been doing this because I finally had some time to do that.
That's what we're seeing.
Although on the flip side, I do, traditional search is going away and traffic, like they're just not sending you traffic anymore, right? People are doing their research on AI and then maybe doing the final click on AI. Don't get me wrong, Google search is still the leader, I think, as of this point, but I see that as completely changing.
Yeah.
So I'm a little apprehensive. Like, sure, the SEO efforts, you're right. They do look at like maybe the top 20 or 30 pages. They took this away recently. I don't know if you noticed, but back in the day, if you did ChatGPT, this number would scroll up really quickly, looking at all the search results. It'd be like scanning the top 30 pages or something, and then it would give you the answer. They took that away recently. Same with Gemini. It'd say, hey, I'm looking at 7 pages, 7 results or whatever. And yeah, they took that away. But the point is that I don't think you need to be on the front page per se. You just need to be within the pages that they're looking at.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, because it's going to go through all, like, me as a person, maybe I go, if I'm really interested and struggling, I'm going to go through, the first 10. But that's a rarity, right? Whereas the AI, for it to do it, is much simpler for it, and it's not pulling, like, it's less effort for it. On their side, it's more about, like, resource cost, right? How
Right.
much energy does it take? Well, the AI thinking is the resource intensive part. It's called a curl request. It like pulling in the web page. That's the easy part. For it to pull in 30 web pages, it's really probably not a ton of effort relative to them generating the summary.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually made a huge difference. So my product descriptions are very descriptive now. Details of the images, everything. And then I put that into a RAG database, and now my search always returns something that's relevant.
Oh,
Whereas my on-site search engine was horrific before because people misspell their synonyms. They type in like sentences and whatnot. So that's been another growth driver. Yeah. For my shop.
that getting on-site search to work well is always powerful. How about, do you do like any filtering, like sidebar filters?
No, I don't do that. I don't need it anymore.
Oh,
The AI search works really well. So I actually just looked at my stats. It's like 66% of searchers result in a click. And the conversion rate after a click is like 23%. I don't know what the industry standard is actually for that. But I asked ChatGPT whether those were good numbers. And it said, yes, they are exceptionally good numbers for search. I don't know if that's true or not.
I know.
Maybe it
You
said
have
it
to
to
take
make
it
me
all
feel
with a grain
better.
of salt.
Yeah. Maybe it told that to make me feel better because that's what it does.
That's why I switched to Claude. It was like peak when ChatGPT, no matter what you said, it was like, bro, you're a genius. You're like, but I said I was going to drink cyanide.
Claude? I run out of credits so quickly on Claude, especially if I'm doing code. Whereas I never ever run out of credits on ChatGPT ever.
Yeah, they're different approaches for sure. I subscribe to both. I never thought I would leave ChatGPT, and now I was like, well, I'm switching to Claude, and now I end up using them both.
Yeah, I have them both too. I have them both because Claude I use for creative writing
Interesting.
more so than anything else. So so we already talked about chat. What are some other things that your clients are asking for that have moved the needle?
Well, all
It
right. So
doesn't have to be AI. Yeah.
the SEO efforts for sure,
Okay.
but within SEO, what's kind of interesting, the pages that are easiest to rank in Shopify And I would expect that this might extend to other e-commerce stores. I don't think this is like a Shopify specific thing, or what Shopify calls collection pages, a category page or a product listing page. The page that has a grid of your products. Those seem to be the pages that are the easiest to get to rank. And so we've got these clients who, like, some of them were the SEO people. Sometimes they have an SEO consultant. Sometimes they have an SEO team. I love those folks. I absolutely pay attention to what they're doing and what they're saying, and then I try it. And the thing that we found is, like, you go in, like, let's say you got an apparel store and your collections are like men's shirts, men's bottoms, right? You're doing it that way. What these SEO companies will go in is, like, they'll show up and then they'll try and really slice those collection pages and those categories into subcategories because they're trying to make long tail keyword phrases. So now suddenly, instead of men's and men's tops being the two categories that have the men's shirts, it's like men's polo, men's performance polos,
Right.
white.
Yeah.
And it's like, and make this very specific collection. And then for the, where AI helps us is, if you have a big catalog, like you have 1,000 products, the big pain to have to go and tag, filter, adjust all those products. And so it's nice just to have the AI do that spreadsheet work for you, like fill in your columns with the things you would need to filter those collections and categories. But, like, that seems to be what they're doing. Someone's going to have this exact match phrase in mind. Like, I'm looking for a specific, I'm a golfer, and there's a very specific kind of shirt, a polo shirt I want. And so I'm going to type that in. And then because we have, like, an entire collection page of these, the AI is going to be like, hey, here you go. This is what we found. That seems to be working well for us. And then, still staying on heat mapping, screen recording. Right. Microsoft Clarity now has an official Shopify integration. Microsoft Clarity is free, wonderful tool. And they even have an MCP and they have an AI built in where it's like, even if you don't know what you're doing with the thing, it will try and help you. It'll be like, okay, here's what we're noticing. And about half the time it's right. But as a person going through it, it's easy for you to identify, like, oh yeah, this is an issue.
So that's interesting. Wouldn't that get out of control? Like, what I'm seeing now is like hundreds of categories that might have only like a small subset of products. Are those just not visible, or are they're just there for SEO?
Yeah, they're essentially, so like any modern commerce platform, you're going to create all these pages. You don't necessarily have to link to them from anywhere. Your search, your on-site search can recommend them, and Google can index them, right? No matter, they're going to get dynamically generated into a sitemap file that you have submitted to Google Search Console. And so it's always going to index all these pages. And so, yeah, we end up with too many collections, but just because we have them, we're not putting them into the main menu.
Got it.
Unrelated of AI, the thing every merchant struggles with is is taxonomy, is merchandising. It's just trying to figure out, what the heck do I put in my main menu, right? Whether I'm on mobile or desktop, realistically, there's like 7 things I could put in it tops before it just becomes an unwieldy mess. So how do you arrange that? That's, for years, that's been, one of my pet peeves is just like when you could tell no one knew what to put in that main menu, and it either ends up with like too little or too much. So that, I think there's a lot of gains that happen there too.
So one question I wanted to ask you, Kurt, is, since, you're an only Shopify shop, plugins have gotten a little out of control. So what would be like your bare bones? Like, if you were to start your own shop, what would be the bare bones Shopify apps that you would install?
Interesting. It's funny. I would do like the first party Shopify apps that aren't necessarily touching the front end of the store. Because my fear with apps is 2 things. One, they bloat load time on the site.
Yep.
If they're on the front end of the site, potentially they could create issues. It's rare, but it can happen. And it also, I got to pay for them. They're not all free. And so my preference is always start with like the first party apps, the Shopify official apps that only are like essentially admin utilities. I mentioned a knowledge base. I could see my AI search and search and discovery. I could control, a lot of the inbuilt search in Shopify. And Shopify Flow, one of my favorites, just this automation tool. It's great.
That's only for Plus users, right?
No, Shopify Flow's for everybody now. Yeah.
Oh,
Originally, you're right. It was Plus only.
Okay.
Now everybody, I try to turn everyone onto it. Like, we touch a store, I could see they haven't used it. I'm like, hey, here's a screencast about Shopify Flow.
Nice.
They're like,
Okay.
oh,
I didn't know that. Okay.
yeah. Um, so outside of those, because they're low risk and they're
And they're
fun
free.
tools and they're
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
Still more admin utilities. Like my next one, Matrixify. It lets you export pretty much everything that's in the store as a spreadsheet so that you could modify it. Also great for AI. You could feed spreadsheets into AI,
Yep.
and then import it back into Shopify and then update everything in bulk. And so just a fabulous tool that could save people so much time if they knew it was out there.
Is
But
that a paid tool or is that
that one you got
free?
to pay for.
That
Yeah,
one you gotta pay for. Okay.
Matrixify, you got to pay
Okay.
for. But beyond that, there's not a ton of front end, like customer facing must have apps that I would say like I absolutely have to use it. Because there's so much that I could try to build in the theme that I can get clever with just asking, Claude to code a little widget for me that I could copy paste. You're also asking a developer too, so it's a little, it's a little
Yeah, no,
different.
but that makes sense for you from a developer perspective.
Yeah.
But
But for
would you
non-developer
advise?
apps,
Well, here, let me ask you this: do you think the Shopify App Store is in trouble because of that? Because every time I look at it, there's all these apps that do practically nothing that you could probably just have Claude code up in probably an afternoon. So how do you feel about just the App Store in general and doing it yourself if you are reasonably tech savvy?
yeah, I think if you're comfortable with it, you can. I think the trick is you have to know both your limits and the limits the of the tool. I think the risk with those vibe coded
Right.
applications is security, right? Like I would not want to vibe code something that involves authentication. I
Sure. Of
don't want to
course.
have to do, store usernames and passwords. That's where I draw the line personally for vibe coding. But other people have different risk tolerances for for scripts, for simple widgets, for stuff that I'm babysitting. It's not going to run all the time. That's where I love it, and that's where I get the most use out of it.
Mhm.
Um, the Going back to that app question, I would look for apps that I always look for apps that solve pains or problems, and so anything I could do, you know, to simplify workflow life for myself and the customer. And so sometimes that might just be a really good order tracking app, that I get plugged into the store. And like once I've got that stuff down, really what I want to do is increase average order value. And so
Mhm.
that's where now I want to start looking for like once I solve my inconveniences, with like an order editing app, so customers can edit their own orders. Now I'm
Do you
gonna
have one
move
of your
in.
favorites?
Oh, for sure. Cleverific Order Edit. All right, they do sponsor
Cleverific.
my
Okay.
podcast, but like they've been around. That thing's been around forever. It's
Okay.
really good. If you have this issue, it's like you get all those customer requests where they're like, "I ordered a small, but I'm actually a large." Like, just let them fix it themselves, right?
Right.
Um,
Okay.
the other like from there, what's funny is like as someone who is well versed in conversion rate optimization, I'm not going straight to conversion rate optimization. I want to optimize for AOV. I know how many people could come to my site. I know how many people are going to typically buy. If I could just get everybody to buy $1 more, a little more, it pays dividends on every order. And so I'm going to focus on AOV next, right?
Sure.
I want
Yeah, absolutely.
funnels. I want upsells, like Zipify one-click upsell.
Mhm.
I want you could do that throughout the site with something like rebuy. My favorite kind of promotion, free gift with purchase. And
Mhm.
like okay, admittedly, I love it so much. I have a free gift with purchase app that will be out there in the Shopify App Store
Oh,
soon.
you're making apps now yourself?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Okay,
we've had
cool.
an app called Crowdfunder for years that does it like like a Kickstarter style widget on a
Yeah.
product page. I'm always setting up these free gift with purchase promos, and the apps that are out there are like decent, but I'm always like, I bet we could do this better. And so finally we did it. And really, I'm
Nice.
just building it for myself first, and then
Well, that's
then
the
we'll
best way.
distribute
You
it.
can test it and iron out all the kinks. I was thinking to myself, like, it'd be so easy for me to create apps on everything now, because with AI, it's so easy to code these things. My fear has always been the support. So I
Yeah,
guess you have a team to do it.
in
So
our case,
yeah,
you could preempt a lot of the support. You could just keep working through, onboarding and problem solving and identify and like having the system flag issues up front. Like a free
yeah,
gift with purchase promo What happens if someone picks an item that's out of stock? Now the free gift can't add. Well, you're going to get a lot of mad people if you don't make that dead obvious that that's the problem. So
Yeah.
like thinking through that stuff really helps. And then we have a dedicated support person. Like eventually I was tearing my hair out with the support
Yeah.
requests. But the advantage to getting the support request, that's really the best way to get positive reviews. Is someone presents you a problem, you are there to solve it promptly, and then say, and when it is solved, go, would you mind writing us a review? That's always been the number one way to get reviews.
Yeah.
And that,
Yeah.
when you're in an app store, Shopify's or any of them, you really live and die by reviews.
So free gift with purchase. What other AOV apps that maybe you might have quoted, but people would want on their store? How's that for a question?
Yes. Well, I think, you want similar to Amazon or your store, you want like frequently bought together on
Yep.
the product page. I want to show other related items. That's also, people may not realize that's good for SEO, that internal linking.
Mhm.
And so those are cross sells. I want cross sells on my product page. And then ideally I have a drawer cart, add to cart, and then a drawer slides out from the right. In that drawer cart, I could probably put a free shipping progress bar. In theory, that increases average order value because they want to hit the free shipping threshold.
Yep.
I could show related items there. If I'm running a free gift with purchase promo, I could have a progress bar. Hey, add another $25 and unlock a free gift.
Yep.
That works well. And then once they click add to cart, or once they click proceed to checkout, okay, now I can have a pop up. Hey, did you forget this? And that's not always necessarily just trying to sell. It could be about that preempting something. We have a client who sells backpacks and they sell patches for those backpacks. And they saw an issue where people would email afterward, I forgot to buy a patch. Can you just add it? Because they don't want to pay the shipping. So that we were like, well, duh, make that's a pop-up now. It's just like, hey, did you forget the patch? And it's got the patches. And then once I hit the checkout, again, I could do upsells and cross sells right in that checkout. And if you want to go really wild, after I place the order, you could do it on the thank you page too in Shopify, where it's like, you hold the order for fulfillment.
Actually, how does that work compared to just regular pre-checkout cross sells in your experience? Like post-purchase versus pre-purchase?
It is so dependent on the store and the offer. Honestly, what's wild to me, like the most successful ones we've seen is where you just go, you offer them the same thing they already bought, especially if it's a consumable good. And you're like, you could just add another one, we'll ship them together, and it's 15% off. That of like post-purchase cross sells we've run, that's the one that always did the best. Isn't that crazy? Just buy two of it.
Yeah, that is the most common post-purchase upsell that works, actually, from what I've heard also. I'm just curious, though, that kind of like trains the person to know that there's going to be a discount. I guess unless you mix it up, but yeah.
Good point. And I think with that one, you limit it to high sale periods. You don't do like that one, you don't run 24/7, 365.
Right. Okay.
And, we've seen so many of these stores where it's easy to get addicted to the successful promo, but then it becomes the expectation.
Yeah. So for your heat map tools, you said you're using Clarity.
Microsoft Clarity. Yeah.
And that's free.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
It
awesome.
does heat map and screen recording, and it's got like a little AI tool. All right, if I'm going to hypothesize, Google Analytics is free, probably because Google wants their analytics on everybody's website.
Of course.
Right? They want this data. I would expect that Microsoft Clarity is a similar play. I have no evidence of that. That's just my theory.
Definitely it. It's definitely it. I actually don't even
plausible,
use,
right?
I don't like analytics so much. I hate it now, the Google Analytics, ever since they went to 4. I don't know how you feel about it.
No,
but
GA4,
yeah.
I like, this is the way I use it now. First, someone has an analytics question. Even if they tell me, hey, can you check a GA4? I'm checking in Shopify Analytics first.
Yeah.
It is not as powerful. It's also like 10 times easier to use. And now I can even just ask this, Shopify Sidekick, be like, hey, can you figure this out for me?
Right.
Then when that doesn't work for me, I'm going to my AI tool, ChatGPT. Hey, you're a GA4 expert. I'm not. This is what we're trying to do. Tell me exactly how to do it in GA4. I'm not wasting my time hunting around a GA4 anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going into it with step-by-step instructions. And then like once I did that, usually I do okay in GA4. But no, like you, really, truly, it really soured me on the product.
Yeah. Yeah, to the point where I only look at it really if I'm just looking at where my traffic is coming from because it does a better job at that, obviously. But
Yeah.
um, okay, so last question for you, actually. What would you say is the most overhyped AI feature that you see that Shopify store owners are chasing right now?
Mm, that's a really good question. When you're for as much as I love AI tools, I really do approach them with a lot of skepticism.
Hmm.
And my skepticism really is largely that so many of these tools are just they're wrappers
Exactly.
for
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And to the point where when you use ChatGPT enough, you recognize its syntax. And so when you know how to use it, you can write the code. You're like, man, why am I paying for this stupid tool to just act as a middleman?
Yeah.
And like that's how I feel about a lot of AI tools. Like there's plenty I described, like you and I both, you're using um, ChatGPT in the same way to automate SEO tasks.
Yep.
Okay, well, there's also tons of apps that'll do the same thing, and they're
Yeah.
going to charge you 10 times what those credits cost. That's where it drives me nuts. It's like you're really not adding value beyond the interface and the wrapper. But I also get that not everybody wants to get dirty with the code like me. That's where I think it's overhyped. It's like all those apps will come and go as these AIs get more evolved, especially if they ever crack the code on the actual like agentic concept.
Yeah.
Like the dream here is I have an AI and I just go, hey, ChatGPT, go in my Shopify store, figure this thing out for me. And then it literally just takes control of my browser and does it the same way I would. You
Yeah.
know, we've
Yeah.
we're at like proof of concept with that right now. I don't know if you've played with any of those tools, but they're a
I'm
little rough.
afraid. I don't want them to take over. Maybe this is just
Me
me,
neither.
but
I don't like it.
yeah, I don't think I will ever get to that point. Uh, just because there's always bugs and people hacking things. So
It
that's
does
just me,
weird.
though.
And they
I'm sure.
and
I'm sure
they
others
act a
won't
little
be.
weird.
Yeah.
They're not really thinking. They do some strange things.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait on that one.
Definitely too. I'm generally not an early adopter. Actually, I wait till things settle down and then I go all in. But
It's for the best.
yeah. Hey, so Kurt, if anyone needs Shopify help, tell me about your company and where they can find you.
Sure. So we've one of the first Shopify experts. We've got a consultancy, a small team of 7 called EtherCycle, where we do Shopify store migrations, Shopify store setups, and a lot of custom theme dev, design and dev. That's our big thing.
Yep.
And of course, I'm best known for hosting the Unofficial Shopify Podcast. If you
Mhm.
want to Google that one, or just Google Kurt Elster. I'm big on Twitter, or grab my newsletter.
Cool. Well, Kurt, it's been a long time coming. Thanks for coming back on the show.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.